close us out, Blessing. What's your topic?
My topic might also be a little bit controversial. But it's my topic is the current state of PlayStation after E3, and the reason why I'm making this my topic is because after E3, I was really high on PlayStation. I was really hyped after the conference because I feel like their conference was one of the best conferences I'd actually ever seen. Uh,
Was it the best?
at the time, at while watching it, I was thinking that. But the more and more I think about the conference, the more and more I kind of hate it, and the more and more I kind of was kind of down on it. The reason being is because when compared, and I'm gonna do a lot of like Sony Microsoft comparisons,
Perfectly
so I don't
fine.
mean to like start
Don't
any
worry.
like
Don't worry.
yeah, I don't mean to start any like fanboy kind of stuff. Even though I'm like a PlayStation fanboy, and so but I'm gonna hate on PlayStation. But in comparison to like the Microsoft conference, right? Like PlayStation came out and they gave us games, and they're very cool games, very awesome games. They gave us Days Gone, they gave us Spider Man, which oh man, I'm so hyped for Spider Man. They gave us that the rebooted God of War, which looks amazing. They gave us what's that Quantic Dream game? Detroit Become Human, which I'm really hyped for. And they gave me so many games that I personally am hyped for, and a lot of other people are hyped for. And so I was really high on that, but I was thinking about it more, and I was thinking about what Microsoft gave us at their conference, and they gave us games. You know, they gave us
Two
hardware,
two
like
new
new
consoles,
consoles, two new consoles. They gave us customizable controllers. They gave us new services like arenas, clubs, all that good jazz, and they gave us some indies. And they gave us like they gave a more diverse arrangement of things. And I was thinking about the PlayStation conference, and I was just thinking about how like my PlayStation 4 is no different before the conference than it is after the conference. Like they really talk about like the state of the PlayStation 4, any new features that are coming, any new updates, any new like name changes or anything like that. They didn't bring up any of that stuff. They didn't bring up any kinds of new hardware. No new like controller, no new like slim PlayStation, no new peripheral, no nothing. I mean, they did talk about VR a little bit, but in my opinion, not enough considering it's releasing this fall. They didn't. I felt like they're just lacking in a lot of ways. And I was having this conversation with somebody last week, to where if I had an Xbox, I'd be really excited about Xbox because Xbox just seems to have like so much going for it right now. In terms of like new games, in terms of like they fixed kind of all the crappy stuff about
backwards
Xbox One that
compatibility
people,
is huge.
yeah, backwards compatibility. Like PlayStation kind of did the same thing with like games last year. And last year Xbox brought out the backwards compatibility, and this year they're bringing out more like hardware stuff and more features and stuff like that. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here with my same PlayStation, with like I can look forward to God of War in a few years, and I can look forward to Days Gone in a few years, and I can look forward to Detroit
few years.
And
next
you can
year.
just keep on
Yeah,
looking
exactly. So,
forward
like,
to Death Stranding for the rest of
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah. And like all the games they announced are like probably games that are going to become my favorite games of all time, because like these are amazing games that they announced. And even last year they announced Final Fantasy VII Remake, they announced Shenmue 3, they re-announced Last Guardian, and like they're showing these awesome games that are gonna come out eventually. And Xbox is just like, well, here you can customize your controller, this fall. Or right now, I can't remember. I can't remember when
right then.
they're doing that.
Yeah, you can. They launch in August, I believe. They ship in August. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and like something like that, like it's amazing because I was looking at that, and I was like, if I had that controller, or if I had an Xbox, I'd be all over that. Or if they did that for PS4, I would be all over that. Like I would buy it that day. And so like I was just thinking about that, and I was kind of wondering like what your guys' thoughts were and are about the current state of PlayStation as a console. Even let's even compare it to Xbox, because I feel like as of late, like Xbox has done a lot to kind of redeem themselves in terms of like what the public opinion was about them a few years ago.
I want to dive in before the other guys because they're PlayStation guys, and I think Jordan and I see kind of similar, but I think Dom obviously wants to get in there too. For me, I definitely felt as if the PlayStation conference was a hype trailer for everything else moving forward. I really love your point, and it's funny. It's like you just summarized our discussion we had. Jordan and I feel almost exactly the same way as you. I really think that Sony didn't, like you said, diversify their conference. I do think almost all of the games they showed outside of Last Guardian before the VR are going to be stellar games. That's not the question. But I do love the point that you brought up of like, my PS4 was no different the day after. I have nothing else to look forward to except for these games in a couple of years, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, the way I look at it is like a race. So say all of us had to run the mile in high school. Say you're running the mile, okay? All of them are at the starting line. Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. To me, it feels like Sony...
Don't forget Ouya.
That doesn't count. That's like... It's in the locker room dry heaving.
The true third console.
So Sony got a 2-lap
Mom
lead.
spaghetti.
Yeah. Sony has a 2-lap lead on Microsoft, right? And Nintendo jammed its ankle, broke its ankle outside of the gate, so it's limping forward now. You know, depending on how the NX is, they can recover and they can heal their ankle and they can get back in the race. Microsoft, to me, may be 2 laps behind Sony, but they're in a full sprint, and Sony is walking. They have a 2-lap lead now, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to walk and take a break," you know. And
it's like the torch in the hair. Basically.
Yeah, and Microsoft is in a full lead. Like, if the people at Sony aren't afraid of Phil Spencer by now, they should be.
Yes, that's a good point, dude.
He is the Xbox's saving grace. And the biggest negative people say, blessing at the Microsoft conference, they say one of 2 things. It's either the Play Anywhere initiative or the announce of 2 consoles. The argument with the 2 consoles, they say they announced one console that was essentially put dead at the end of the conference by the other console. That's like, I don't understand that argument by any means. They're going to be 2 different price points. They're for 2 different audiences. And we would have heard the same argument if Sony had the balls to actually talk about the Neo, but they didn't want to because they actually go after Microsoft, so they can pull things like that, obviously. And that's Microsoft probably did the same thing if they came after Sony, so I don't blame Sony. But the thing is that the Scorpio is for people who want a higher end, as close to PC as they can get without having to invest in a PC. The Xbox One S is for people who have had an Xbox for a while, and it's giving out. You know, PS4s are giving out now too. We've had them for a while. They're not working as well as they used to. The Xbox One S is the cheapest 4K Blu-ray player on the market right now. You know, well, when it comes out later on this year, like, they're 2 different things. The other argument, the Play Anywhere thing of them saying, well, there's no reason for me to own an Xbox now that the exclusives are in both. You weren't going to buy an Xbox anyways. I'm sorry.
Because that's what I was going to say. The one caveat to, they all have all these cool hardware announcements, but they also just confirmed to me that I don't ever need to buy an Xbox.
And they're still going to get your money, though. So they're perfectly winning on that front.
Right, but they're only going to get money like on those, 1 or 2 specific exclusives that I am forced to buy from the Windows Store.
Yeah, but they're also forcing you to upgrade to Windows 10, which also gets them $100.
Well, I already have Windows 10.
Well, and I think they make more money off of software than they do hardware, and I feel like they're just admitting at this point that, like Xbox maybe just be kind of like a family PC gaming box, instead of being this whole console thing that's like a big part of the mainstream. Maybe PC does kind of start to take over.
Here's the thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
So the thing is that I've been borderline. Like, do I ever need an Xbox or not at this point? Because potentially another Alan Wake and Gears of War, and I'd like to go back and play
Sunset Overdrive
and Halo, so I'm like borderline, right? Like, is it all worth it? Now that I have the option to get anything, like any of those exclusives, like without that, I don't really feel the need to. Whereas if I wanted just one of them, and wanted it enough to buy the box, then having bought the box, I would feel like I have to buy all the other exclusives to justify that purchase of the whole box, right? So that's what they're going to miss out on. And any other multi-platform games that I would have purchased on that box anyway, just because I have it.
Yeah, but don't you buy a lot of multi-platform games on your PC, even though you have a PS4 anyways?
Right, but all through Steam and not through Microsoft Store, which is that's the kicker here, because no one is their store is still absolute garbage compared to Steam. Steam is by far the best digital storefront that exists.
You also have to realize you're not the market they're trying to hit.
Right.
You have a gaming PC.
Right, I'm the minority here.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who can't afford a gaming PC.
Right.
And guess what? The normal Xbox Ones are getting cheaper, and the Xbox One S is coming in. It's a good price point, and like even people who are going to get the Scorpio, people are like, well, why wouldn't they just buy a PC? Because it's not going to be the same price as a PC. Plus, consoles are way easier than PCs. Yes, PCs hit these power thresholds that consoles don't, but they don't have the ease factor. you know? And people can say updating drivers and doing all this stuff isn't complicated. But, you know, a lot of times for you, for instance, Dom, you work all day. You get home, it's 5 o'clock, you're tired, you eat dinner. You want to be able to just sit down and play a game, you know? You don't have to go through all these necessary steps, because if you're sitting there installing drivers and doing all this stuff, then you're like, well, I'm just going to sit down and watch a movie or watch Netflix, you know?
So, yeah, no, I totally agree that, and I think that this is, they're doing the right thing overall, you know, with
they're
most
admitting
people.
defeat of this quote-unquote console generation, I think is what they're doing.
It's just, yeah, for me personally, it just confirmed, like, yeah, it's just, now I don't ever need that, and I can grab any of these exclusives if I ever feel like I need to, but I don't need to buy the box for them. But, again...
but...
I also think that, like, I feel like a lot of gamers don't, or maybe not say gamers, like, most people don't buy consoles for exclusives, I think. At least, and I think that was proven, like, during this last fall, where PlayStation barely had any exclusives, and Xbox had, like, all the exclusives, and PlayStation still outsold Xbox. And so, I think that's a little bit proof of, like, people aren't buying consoles for exclusives, they're buying them for a different reason. And whether it's comfort, whether it's price, I mean, I don't know. But I think consoles specifically are enticing for a whole different reason, other than exclusives. Exclusives are almost kind of like a bonus. And in terms of like
well, you actually made a really good point there. Sorry to cut you off, but like, so exclusives aren't what sell consoles. You know what will sell the Xbox One S? The fact that it's the cheapest 4K Blu-ray player on the market. You know, people might not buy it because it has Xbox exclusives, but guess what? I have a 4K TV. I don't want to play 4K Blu-rays. I can get one that has Netflix on it and can play video games as well. Sold.
And there are way more 4K TVs out there than we think. And
yeah,
you know, those people are looking for something to play on the new TVs they bought that they can't truly utilize. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I love that argument though, Blessing, that the exclusives aren't necessarily what sells consoles. I really like that. Xbox
is kind of admitting defeat this generation. I think that's sort of what also got me kind of hyped for Xbox, because watching them reveal Scorpio, a lot of people had like the complaint that people were kind of hating for Sony on Sony when like the Neo first leaked, and people hated the idea of the Neo, yet people are applauding Xbox for the Scorpio. And I mean, I think it's a situation of Xbox is not in the lead right now, and by them releasing the Scorpio is them on attack mode and them being like, hey, we see what's happening right now, we understand what's happening right now, we're gonna do something about it. And them releasing the Scorpio is them being like, we're gonna do something about it. And it sucks on PlayStation side, because PlayStation can't just sit there and take it. You know, like, PlayStation has to do something. Like, they can't. If Xbox comes out with a new console and with like a more powerful console, and PlayStation 4 is just a PlayStation 4, then Sony's screwed. You know, and so like, it on PlayStation side, I feel like it's almost like a have to. On Xbox side, I feel like it's like they get to reset the board. Meanwhile, PlayStation has to like react to whatever Xbox may do in order to like.
That's also the exciting part. Sorry, that's also the exciting part, because maybe they just went back to the drawing board, and in a couple of months we're going to hear about, you know, Neo that does 7 teraflops or whatever. You know what I mean? It's may have hopefully started this war of escalation.
But that won't come out before the Scorpio, though.
Right? Yeah. If that's the case, then yeah, it'll probably be around the same time as that one.
The weird thing too to me is like, PlayStation could have easily marketed the Neo, instead of marketing it as the PS4K, it could have been the PS4 Slim, and said it had 4K capabilities. Like, because obviously they aren't gonna. It's dumb for them to announce something that's trying to be a direct competitor to Scorpio. It's weird to me that Sony didn't take that time to try to make it a direct competitor to the Xbox One S and not the Scorpio. So, like you said, they could go behind the scenes and start working on Scorpio's competitor. It's weird to me that they're just like hiding the Neo and not talking about it. You know. To me, you should market that as a competitor to the Xbox One S that comes out this fall, where the Neo is still rumored to come out this fall.
Well, they still may. I mean, they haven't officially said anything, right? All we know is from leaks.
But we're talking about Nintendo not controlling their message and waiting to talk about stuff, and yet Sony's doing the same thing, you know?
Yeah. They need to speak up, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I think...
Hope soon.
And the thing is they have a 2-lap lead, but they're walking, you know? And the thing for me is it's probably how PlayStation gamers feel. So the PS2 was fantastic. PS3 had its issues. Obviously, Xbox 360 was a console of choice that generation. But the people who sat in and waited on the PS3 and dealt with that stuff, and then they got a really great thing with the PS4, right? Like, they finally had all of their issues paid off for the most part. Like, them hanging on to the PS3 ecosystem benefited them, right? And I really think people who love the 360 but have dealt with Xbox One, even though Xbox One is still selling at a phenomenal rate comparison to a lot of other consoles, I think Scorpio could be their PS3 to PS4 thing, where it's like, yeah, PS4 beat us, but we still stuck with Xbox One because we love Xbox, and Scorpio is going to deliver and give us what we kind of dealt with for the meantime, you know? I think PS4, their console could have been everything if it was just a little bit more diverse. Going back to the original point of this topic, I just feel like you said, it was just, there wasn't diversity there. There wasn't what's happening with the PSN, what's happening with accessories, and even maybe those aren't necessary, but what about the indies? The PlayStation 4 is supposed to be the indie console.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, we're giving all these money to indies that we're not going to show on prime time because we're just going to show them at PSX and a bunch of other places.
And that was probably the thing that struck me the most, is when I realized that they didn't show any indies.
Much as indies Persona.
And
I'm surprised they didn't show Persona either, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
God, yeah. Any closing thoughts on the state of PS4 so we can close out the show?
Greatness awaits.
I just want to go back to a point that...
Still waits. No, it doesn't wait. But...
One of the points that Blessing made, just about, of course, Xbox having a more filled out conference and hitting all the points. And then also talking about how aggressive Microsoft is being right now and how they're really on attack mode. And I've mentioned this before, how I'm just wondering why Sony hasn't, dealt the killing blow to Microsoft yet, because they've had plenty of chances.
I think it's too late now.
And exactly, I'm saying it's too late now.
Yeah.
And like you said, Blessing, I think Microsoft's the one, like you said, Jared, that's sprinting, that's on attack mode, that's being aggressive. And Sony is just, it's their game to lose, and they're letting themselves lose it for kind of no reason, which is, obviously disappointing.
And the thing too is, so as Xbox backwards compatibility is going on, they're adding new games, so they're already in the infrastructure. They don't have to mess with the games that are in there, right? Moving forward with Project Scorpio, not only will you more than likely have all of your Xbox One games backwards compatible because the infrastructure are there, you'll have your 360 games that you already have in your Xbox One, so that's 2 tiers of backwards compatibility.
And they'll probably run better.
When the next PlayStation comes out after the Neo, whatever it is, I'm more than guarantee they'll have backwards compatibility, hopefully, for your guys' sake. But they're also gonna have to. But they're also gonna have to put in that infrastructure, That's gonna take a lot of time, and it sucks that you guys. Like, I'm an Xbox guy, and I'm happy with my Xbox. You guys have a PS4; it's the console that's winning, and it doesn't seem like they care about you guys as much as Microsoft is. Microsoft is trying to have the people who own it be thankful for it and trying to get people to come over and say, hey, we're changing. PlayStation's like, you bought our console, cool, we have some games coming out in a couple of years, hold tight.
I totally agree, Jared.
So
and like I might like I'm fully a PlayStation person, and like I'm fully if people call me a PlayStation fanboy, I might agree and be like, you know what, you're kind of right, because I'm that's how much I love PlayStation. I might buy an Xbox like One S just because of the backwards compatibility thing, because also because of the exclusives, but they're just doing so much for it, and I know I'm kind of repeating myself now, but like the controllers, the backwards compatibility, the exclusives are coming out, like. There are different things happening for Xbox, and they've kind of won me over at this point, and so I just want to throw that out there.
On the plus side, the Project Scorpio will most likely not have a power brick on the outside like the Xbox One S, which I'm super excited for.
Let's hope so.
I hate having the power brick. We're going to be closing out now. Let's talk about what we're going to be playing, and then we'll get a short little spiel from Blessing where you can find him on the internet. For me, I'm going to be playing Inside. Super stoked for that. For all of you listening, if you're catching us on Sunday, it's going to be too late, but over the weekend, Halo 5 is actually free to play with Xbox Gold. You can download it and play it until Sunday. I never got a chance to play Halo 5. People don't like it, but I just want to play it. So, I'll be playing that. So, Inside Halo 5, and probably dab into Quantum Break if I have time, but I think Halo 5 is going to take up a lot of time there. That's pretty much for me. What are you guys going to be playing this week?
Walking Dead.
Season 2, right? You're on episode 3?
Just finished
turning Clementine into a monster.
Oh, and I love it. She's the Walter White.
Do you have Telltale's Game of Thrones?
No, that was also on sale, and I was considering it, but a lot of people, I actually posted a question in the Kind of Funny Facebook group, are these any good? This is what's on sale, and the majority said that the Game of Thrones Telltale series actually kind of sucked, apparently.
I liked it.
Ooh.
but it's like $7.
It's not.
So
It's not Walking Dead, but I do like it. So that is what it is.
I'm interested in it.
Yeah, it's cool. It tells a side story of the Foresters, so it's really cool. Any more Game of Thrones I can get since the season ended,
I need that fix, man.
Yeah. What about you, Jordan? What are you going to be playing?
Yeah, so that's actually a good point. They're having the mid-year sale for PlayStation right now, and I already picked up Tales of Hearts R for Vita and
Odensphere Lichtenschnauzer, or whatever.
No, I picked up Super Stardust Ultra for PS4, which I've been meaning to get, but it was just now super cheap. And then later on this week, I might even grab a couple more games. Speaking of, they have the Telltale Games collection, which is usually over $100.
like 20.
And yeah, it's like $22, and it's got both seasons of Walking Dead, which I already have.
That's what one
2.
series costs. That's a hell of a deal, dude.
Exactly. Walking Dead season 1 and 2, Wolf Among Us, Game of Thrones, and Tales from the Borderlands. So probably gonna pick that up. And then
That's
Jared,
insane
you mentioned
value.
Halo.
Sorry, that's insane
it
value.
is.
Yeah.
You're totally right. You mentioned Halo. I am obviously not really into multiplayer, so if I could just download it this weekend and beat the campaign and be done with it, that would be super awesome, so I don't have to buy it. So I'll probably try to do that. Like I said, I am finishing up my Witcher review, so I'm going to be playing more Blood and Wine. And, of course, got to do some cramming for Persona 3, man, because I still got, like, 30 hours to go.
What about you, Blessing? What do you got going on this week? What are you playing?
Oh man, I'm playing a lot. Basically because of that sale. But I'm playing Tales from the Borderlands, playing the Banner Saga, playing Saints Row. I'm also playing. I should be streaming How to Fool a Boyfriend this Saturday.
Ooh, where
so
can
I'll
we-
Pigeon
do that.
Dater, right?
Where can we
Pigeon
watch-
Dating
Is that a fun
Simulator.
game?
Yeah, the dating simulator with the birds, and so I'm really excited for that one because I don't think I've ever played. Yeah, I've never played a dating simulator before, and so it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Oh, I'm also playing Overwatch.
Of course, that's
Always.
without being said.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be playing. Blessing, where can they find you? Thank you for joining us. Where can they find you on the internet?
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. If people want to look for me, you can find me on Twitter at Blessing Jr. That is at Blessing Jr. I also write a lot about video games and stuff at okbeast.com. And I also podcast a lot. And right now I'm finishing up an Overwatch podcast series soon, and you can find that by searching OK Beast on iTunes. The name of the Overwatch series is Overwatched, but it'll be under like the OK Beast feed, and so look up OK Beast on iTunes to find it. And yeah, also OK Beast on
Awesome.
YouTube.
Real quick for Blessing too, what I was gonna shout out was on your Blessing Junior YouTube account, you've got a bunch of awesome video game remixes.
Oh yeah. Blessing Junior is where that's like my personal account.
Right.
And so like, I just
Yeah.
made like a new website account. But yeah, I do a lot of video game remixes, and so like hip hop beat remixes, and so yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good plug actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Shout
if you
out
like,
to your Kingdom Hearts remixes, and then you did Snake Eater, right?
Oh yes, I did, dude. I didn't know anybody listened to that one because that was like I kind of did that one like pretty quickly, and I didn't like it. But yeah, I uploaded it.
Well, I liked it, so
yeah,
shout out
check
to
that out.
his awesome
Appreciate
remixes
that.
on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you again for joining us, Blessing.
Oh, yeah.
We're really thankful for you being a guest. You said hopefully one day one of us can be a guest on your podcast, and you're welcome back anytime for sure.
Oh yeah, or all you guys.
Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. This was episode 18 of the Control Ditches Gamecast. As always, share us, like us, follow us on all of these social networks. It helps, every week. Also, Dom's going to be tweeting out the winner of the Star Wars Blu-ray this week on Twitter. We're going to randomly select it and give it away. So look out for that if you're following us on Twitter. Check that out. If you're not following us, definitely follow us. Dom's at Dom9494. Jordan's at Mellomodus. Blessing Jr. And I'm at Jared _.
I'm actually now at Dom's Oreos.
Dom's Oreos. All right, name change, not 9494. All right.
Finally
What?
committed to one.
Man, if only Shuhei would let us change our
I'm
names.
surprised you didn't change to at Uncharted's overrated. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.